Nicolas Cage has just suffered a downfall that defies belief, and what's been exposed has left Hollywood observers across the country stunned. The Oscar-winning actor, long known for his eccentric automotive collection, has now suffered a devastating financial collapse. The loss of his ultra-rare cars marks not just the fall of a unique collection, but a personal and public reckoning with years of reckless spending that Hollywood can no longer ignore. The context begins in the early 2000s when Cage wasn't just a movie star but cinematic royalty, an Oscar winner earning tens of millions per film from blockbusters like Con Air, National Treasure, and Face Off. The veteran actor recently faced the reality of losing his entire automotive empire due to overwhelming debt, and announced his intention to liquidate everything he had built over decades of collecting. This inflammatory financial crisis escalated consequences, particularly when the IRS claimed he owed over $6.3 million in unpaid taxes, mostly tied to his years of excessive purchasing. Hollywood watched Cage's car obsession spiral for years as he amassed over 50 ultra-rare vehicles, including a Ferrari Enzo, a Lamborghini Miura SVJ, and a Bugatti Type 57 C Atlanti. But beneath the glamour was a deeper question. Who spends millions on machines while ignoring millions in taxes? In the end, not even an Oscar could shield him from financial collapse, forced asset sales, and the public reckoning that followed. Cage's car empire wasn't about luxury or investment, it was identity. He built climate-controlled vaults across 5 estates with security systems rivaling bank vaults and presentation worthy of a museum. This wasn't storage, it was obsession, turning machines into art across a personal empire now lost. Cage recently revealed his philosophical connection to automobiles in a particularly significant statement that exposed his complete emotional investment. A car should make your heart race before you even turn the key. You don't just drive them, you feel them. These machines weren't just transportation, they were emotional anchors. This comprehensive philosophy exposes Cage's systematic approach. Purchase based on emotional connection, curate each acquisition for personal meaning, and maintain museum-quality preservation to justify multi-million-dollar automotive investment, ultimately allowing his passion to override financial prudence throughout his collecting career. The purchasing pattern demonstrates the systematic nature of Cage's automotive obsession. At one point, insiders estimated he was purchasing a new vehicle every few weeks, including Ferraris, Bentleys, vintage muscle cars, and European exotics. He didn't discriminate as long as vehicles were rare, fast, or historically significant, creating a collection that read like an automotive fantasy. The specific vehicles reveal the extraordinary scope and value of Cage's collection. Porsche 356 Speedster representing classic Hollywood cool, Jaguar D-Type replica showcasing pure motorsport history, Lamborghini Diablo representing outrageous 90s excess, Ferrari 250 GT demonstrating old-world elegance, and rare American muscle legends including Mustangs and Corvettes created comprehensive automotive coverage across multiple eras and manufacturers. The financial collapse timeline reveals the systematic destruction of Cage's empire beyond automotive assets. By the mid-2000s, Cage wasn't just collecting rare cars, but hoarding everything, including 15 homes, a Gothic castle in Germany, a haunted mansion in New Orleans, 2 luxury mansions in Rhode Island, a private island in the Bahamas, a 70-million-year-old dinosaur skull, shrunken heads, and pyramids to eventually house his remains. The IRS intervention created immediate liquidation pressure throughout Cage's holdings. In 2009, the government's $6.3 million tax claim forced systematic asset sales that prioritized the most liquid and valuable items. Cage tried to sue his business manager, blaming him for negligence, but the manager fired back, saying Cage ignored every warning and kept spending like the money would never stop flowing. But wait, there is more. The auction process reveals the brutal reality of forced liquidation versus market timing. One by one, the most exotic vehicles quietly began appearing on elite auction lists with often no official attribution, but everyone knew the truth. Among the most painful losses, Ferrari Enzo sold under financial duress for an estimated value over $1 million, Lamborghini Miura SVJ gone within days, and Bugatti Type 57C Atlante, a pre-war legend that once belonged to royalty. The emotional impact extends beyond financial loss to identity destruction. The most meaningful cars weren't the ones with highest dollar value, but those tied to memories, including a 1955 Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Gullwing, described as rolling sculpture that Cage adored and drove sparingly. When it sold, insiders said it wasn't about the money, but about letting go of something irreplaceable. The Shelby Mustang GT500 Eleanor replica from Gone in 60 Seconds represented more than automotive value. It was a symbol connecting his love of film and obsession with machines. Letting it go was like selling the climax of his own movie, demonstrating how deeply these vehicles connected to his professional and personal identity. The Lamborghini 350 GT, the very first production car Lamborghini ever made, which Cage had tracked down specifically for its historical significance, wasn't flashy or loud, but meant something beyond monetary value. Each sale wasn't just a transaction, but a wound, a quiet goodbye to another part of himself. The public reaction demonstrates the complex dynamics of celebrity financial collapse. Tabloids ran wild with headlines, Cage's castle crumbles, from millionaire to motoring meltdown, fast cars, faster fall. To the media, it was a spectacle, another Hollywood cautionary tale, but fellow car collectors quietly swarmed the auctions, with some seeing opportunity and others respectfully acknowledging the tragedy. The collector community response reveals the predatory nature of distressed asset sales. There were stories of collectors lowballing prices, knowing Cage was desperate to sell, transforming the auction process into a feeding frenzy where buyers weren't just paying for cars, but for the story, the legend of Nicolas Cage's collapse. The current vehicle situation demonstrates Cage's dramatic lifestyle transformation. Gone are the climate-controlled garages and multi-million-dollar hauls. Cage now lives a far more minimalist lifestyle by choice, having been spotted driving a Subaru WRX and a Jaguar XF, refined but modest choices compared to his past fleet. The psychological recovery process shows Cage's evolved relationship with automotive passion. He still attends occasional collector events, not as a buyer, but as a quiet admirer. He doesn't need to own anymore, he simply appreciates. Friends say he still follows auctions and bookmarks interesting cars, but there's no urgency to possess. The scattered collection aftermath reveals the permanent dispersion of Cage's automotive legacy. The Bugatti Type 57 Cialante now reportedly sits in a private European collection. The Lamborghini Miura SVJ is rumored to have doubled in value, and Eleanor has changed hands multiple times, with each new owner claiming a piece of cinema and celebrity history. The documentary value persists through collector communities who track serial numbers and whisper in forums, because owning one of Cage's former cars isn't just about the vehicle, but about the story it carries. They're artifacts from a time when Hollywood collided with horsepower, representing a moment when an actor lived his own action movie one VIN at a time. The philosophical transformation demonstrates Cage's hard-earned wisdom regarding material possessions. In one candid moment, he said, "It's not about how many things you own, it's about finding what really matters." He never denied the love he had for the cars, but began to understand the cost of loving them too much. Cage's comeback proved that true value lies in art, not accumulation. Stripped of spectacle, gritty roles in films like Joe, Pig, and Mandy reminded the world he could still act. His collection wasn't just wealth, it was identity. But when the debts came due, the legend unraveled piece by piece. In the end, Cage didn't just lose cars. He let go of excess, found purpose, and reclaimed his legacy through performance, not possessions.
Hi, my name is Prince Michael Jackson, and I love my daddy. And I'm Daddy's baby, and I love my daddy.
Singing well to me, and we sing home. What day is today?
Huh?
What day is today?
Today is December 25th.
What's special about December 25th?
It's Christmas.
Exactly. What does Christmas mean?
Love and spending time with family.
Blanket, what does Christmas mean?
Love,
Love what?
family.
Your family. Who's your family?
Behind the masks and veils, beyond the fantasy world of Neverland Ranch, three children grew up in the shadow of pop music's most controversial icon. But what's the real story of Prince Paris and Biggie Jackson in 2025? The privilege, the pain, the scrutiny, the struggle. Today, we're peeling back the curtain on what it really means to inherit the legacy of Michael Jackson. You think you know their story, but the truth is far more complex than the headlines suggest. These aren't just celebrity kids, they're survivors of a childhood no one could possibly prepare for. Michael Jackson's death in 2009 wasn't just a cultural earthquake. It was a personal apocalypse for 3 children who suddenly lost not just a father, but their entire world. Prince was 12, Paris was 11, and Biggie, then known as Blanket, was just 7 years old. What followed was a childhood unlike any other. The transition from Neverland's private amusement park to living with their grandmother, Katherine Jackson, marked the beginning of a painful journey into the public eye. Imagine losing your father and your home in one devastating blow. And let's remember what Neverland was. Not just a house, but an entire ecosystem designed by Michael to create a magical childhood. Private amusement rides, a zoo, movie theaters, a fantasy land that disappeared overnight. For Paris especially, that journey nearly ended in tragedy. By age 15, she had attempted suicide multiple times, struggling with depression, addiction, and relentless online bullying. The public watched as this young girl's pain played out on social media, often with cruel commentary accompanying every post. Paris revealed in past interviews how she gained a lot of weight after her father's death, saying food became an addiction. The therapeutic boarding school in Utah where she was sent was later exposed for abusive practices, something Paris herself has spoken out against alongside other survivors like Paris Hilton. Even now, at 26, Paris carries the psychological scars of growing up under constant surveillance. She's described experiencing audio hallucinations of camera clicks and severe paranoia, classic symptoms of PTSD from years of paparazzi pursuit. Simple sounds like a trash bag rustling can trigger panic attacks, but the Jackson children have shown remarkable resilience. Paris transformed her pain into creativity, establishing herself as a musician, model, and actress. Her journey from that broken 11-year-old at her father's memorial service to the confident artist she is today is nothing short of extraordinary. Her 2020 debut album, Wilted, and subsequent releases like The Lost EP deliberately veered away from her father's pop sound, embracing indie folk and alternative rock influences. Critics initially dismissed her as riding on her father's fame, but her distinct sound, influenced by artists like Nirvana and the Pixies, has earned respect in its own right. On her father's birthday celebration in 2023, Paris performed an emotional tribute, acknowledging that he had put in 50 years of blood, sweat, and tears so she could stand on that stage. Her engagement to Justin Long in late 2024 suggests she's building a stable personal life as well, though the media scrutiny around their relationship has been predictably intense. Prince, now 27, chose a different path. While he dabbled in acting with appearances on shows like 90210, his true passion emerged in philanthropy and production. He once joked he didn't get the dancing gene from his father, but he certainly inherited Michael's humanitarian spirit. He founded Heal Los Angeles, directly inspired by his father's Heal the World ethos, and his King's Son Productions company has been steadily growing. During the pandemic, his meal delivery services garnered positive attention, showing business acumen alongside genuine compassion. His relationship with Molly Sherman, ongoing since 2017, has provided stability amid the chaos of his public life. And then there's Biggie, formerly known as Blanket, the most private of the 3 siblings. That infamous balcony incident when he was just 9 months old marked the beginning of a complicated relationship with fame. Bullied mercilessly about his nickname, he changed it to Biggie in 2015, a small act of reclaiming his identity. At 22, he's recently emerged as a promising filmmaker, with his short film Rochelle's winning Best Drama at the Santa Monica Film Festival in 2024. This success was particularly meaningful to his siblings. Prince proudly posted about the win online, showcasing their continued support for each other's individual paths. Biggie's interest in science fiction and environmental activism has also become more public. In a rare 2021 interview with Good Morning Britain, he spoke passionately about climate change, showing a thoughtful nature that belies his young age and limited public exposure. But the darkness of their story continues behind closed doors. Legal battles over the estate have created tension within the family. The Jackson siblings navigate a complex inheritance, both financial and emotional. When Biggie challenged his grandmother's $500,000 legal fee request, it revealed his determination to protect his father's estate, valued in the hundreds of millions. Perhaps their greatest challenge has been reconciling their daddy with the public's perception, especially after Leaving Neverland deeply affected Prince. Yet their bond remains unshakable. Prince describes them as just equals supporting each other, while Paris speaks of being raised like twins with a telepathic bond including Biggie. Each honors Michael differently, Prince through philanthropy, Paris through art, Biggie through filmmaking, while establishing their own identities beyond being Michael Jackson's children. Paris proudly identifies as Black, acknowledging her father immersed them in African American culture, adding another dimension to their multicultural journey. And rumors about biological parentage have followed them, particularly Prince. The tabloids have been merciless in questioning whether Michael was his biological father. His response speaks volumes about their maturity. What difference does it make to someone who's not involved in my life? It doesn't change mine. Imagine having strangers debate your parentage online, in magazines, on television. The Jackson children have endured invasions of privacy that would break many adults, yet they've maintained a remarkable dignity throughout. Looking ahead to the remainder of 2025, all three siblings will likely be involved with the upcoming biopic starring their cousin, Jafar Jackson. The film represents yet another opportunity to shape the narrative around their father's complicated legacy. How they choose to engage with this project may reveal much about how they see their role as custodians of Michael's artistic contributions. The musical adaptations of Michael's work continue to tour globally, and the siblings have supported these endeavors, appearing at premieres and speaking about the importance of preserving their father's artistic vision. This suggests a gradual healing, an ability to celebrate their father's talent while processing their personal loss. So, what's the dark truth behind Michael Jackson's kids? It's that there is no single truth, just extraordinary privilege mixed with unimaginable pressure. Despite growing up under constant scrutiny, each has forged their own path while honoring their father's legacy of constant improvement. From the ashes of Neverland, they've built new lives. Prince in production, Paris in music, Biggie in film. In 2025, their greatest achievement isn't surviving their father's fame, but thriving despite it.
The 1986 album Control that she struck gold.
Janet Jackson finally reveals shocking secrets about Michael's life that the world never knew. Janet claimed that Michael forced her to help him fake his death. What really happened behind the scenes of his fame and struggles? Why Michael want to fake his death? This will change everything you thought you knew. Let's take a closer look.
When I was 7, I don't ever remember being asked. I just remember doing it. As far as making music, we had a studio at home growing up, and whatever time of night, day, couldn't sleep at night, you'd go in the studio and you'd just create music, put something down if you had an idea.
Before we move forward, let's go back to where it all started. In the small town of Gary, Indiana, 1958, the Jackson story began in a tiny 2-bedroom house where dreams were as big as their family. Michael Jackson grew up with 9 brothers and sisters, all squeezed into a home where music played from morning until night. Their mother spent her days playing clarinet and piano, holding onto her own dreams of becoming a country singer. Joe, their father, worked hard as a crane operator and had been a boxer, skills that showed in his tough approach to raising his children. The house may have been small, but it was always filled with sound, singing, dancing, and the constant practice that would one day make the Jacksons famous. Every corner of their home held memories of early performances, shared dreams, and the strict discipline that shaped their future. Growing up as a Jackson meant living a very different life from other kids in Gary. While neighborhood children played games and went to school, the Jackson children spent hours practicing their singing and dancing. Their father Joe made sure they never wasted a minute. Every spare moment was spent rehearsing. The family's tight living space meant there was no privacy, but it also created strong bonds between the siblings. They shared everything: clothes, toys, and the dream of something bigger than their small town could offer. Music wasn't just something they did for fun. It was their whole life, their ticket to a better future, and the thing that kept them together through hard times. Joe's strict rules and harsh punishments became a dark cloud that hung over their childhood memories. By 1963, the Jackson Five had started performing at local talent shows, with 5-year-old Michael already showing signs of being a natural star.
Creeping up on the backside of you here. Oh. Kip, I've got a little bit of a problem with this microphone. It's all snagged in the back, so I'm going to take this one if that's all right with you. Would you make a fast change? Hello, hello. How about that? I'll put this over here. It's one of these formal shows where we do everything. Would you be kind enough to introduce me to your brothers, starting with the gentleman on the end with, is it a bass or a guitar? I can't see. Guitar.
Guitar. Okay, first we have
Can I get with you on the mic just every now and again, you know?
Toriano Jackson,
It's nice to see you. Who's the man over here?
Marlon,
Hi. And the next man?
and Jackie,
Hello, Jack.
Jermaine.
Hi. Now, let me ask you a question. I'm going to steal it. I feel very naked without a microphone. I've been holding one of these things, punching it at people for a long time. Two gentlemen in the back are not your brothers, though they're related, are they not?
Right.
The little boy with the big voice and amazing dance moves quickly became the center of attention. They performed in clubs where children shouldn't have been allowed, staying up late into the night when they should have been sleeping.